Have you ever stopped to consider that every decision you make, every dollar you spend, and every minute you use might be part of a greater purpose? What if I told you that the Bible contains a revolutionary concept that could transform your entire approach to life, finances, and personal growth? Are you ready to unlock the secret that has been hiding in plain sight? A principle so powerful, it could reshape your future and impact generations to come? Hello, dear friends. Welcome to our channel. Today, we're embarking on an extraordinary journey into a topic that has the potential to revolutionize every aspect of your life. We're diving deep into the concept of Christian stewardship, a principle that goes far beyond managing money or volunteering at church. It's a comprehensive lifestyle that acknowledges God's ownership over everything and our role as faithful managers of His resources. Before we dive into this topic, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Your participation helps us spread this transformative message to more people. Let's get started. Imagine for a moment that everything you have, your time, your skills, your money, even your relationships, was entrusted to you by someone else. How would that change the way you approach each day? How would it impact your decisions, your goals, and your priorities? That's exactly what we're going to explore in this video. We'll unpack the biblical concept of stewardship, examine its far-reaching implications, and most importantly, discuss how you can apply these transformative principles in your daily life. But before we dive in, let's take a moment to reflect on why this topic is so crucial. In our fast-paced, consumer-driven world, it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture. We're constantly bombarded with messages telling us to buy more, achieve more, and accumulate more. Yet, despite all our striving, many of us feel a sense of emptiness, a nagging feeling that there must be more to life than just acquiring stuff and chasing success. That's where Christian stewardship comes in. It offers a radically different perspective on life, one that can bring profound meaning, purpose, and fulfillment. It challenges us to see everything, our time, our talents, our treasures, through the lens of God's ownership and our management. This shift in perspective has the power to transform not just our financial decisions, but every aspect of our lives. So, are you ready to embark on this life-changing journey? Are you prepared to challenge your assumptions, rethink your priorities, and discover a way of living that aligns with God's purposes? If so, buckle up, because we're about to delve into a topic that could very well change the course of your life. Let's start by defining what Christian stewardship really means. At its core, stewardship is the careful and responsible management of something entrusted to one's care. In the Christian context, it's the understanding that God is the ultimate owner of everything, and we are His stewards or managers. This concept is deeply rooted in Scripture. In the book of Psalms, we read, "The earth is the Lord's, and everything in it, the world, and all who live in it." Psalm 24:1. This verse sets the foundation for our understanding of stewardship. It reminds us that we don't truly own anything. We're simply managing what God has entrusted to us. Another key passage is found in 1 Corinthians 4:2, which states, "Now it is required that those who have been given a trust must prove faithful." This verse emphasizes our responsibility as stewards. We're not just passive recipients of God's blessings. We're called to be active, faithful managers of what He's given us. But what exactly are we stewarding? It's not just our money, although that's certainly part of it. Christian stewardship encompasses every aspect of our lives. Let's break it down into three main categories: time, talents, and treasures. First, let's talk about time. We each have 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week. How we use this time is a crucial aspect of stewardship. Are we using our time wisely? Are we balancing work, rest, family time, and service to others? The Bible encourages us to make the most of our time. In Ephesians 5:15-16, we read, "Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise but as wise, making the most of every opportunity, because the days are evil." This doesn't mean we need to be productive every minute of every day. Rest and recreation are important too. But it does mean being intentional about how we spend our time. It means prioritizing what's truly important and not wasting the precious gift of time we've been given. Think about your typical day. How much time do you spend scrolling through social media, binge-watching TV shows, or engaging in activities that don't align with your values or goals? Now, I'm not saying these activities are inherently bad, but the principle of stewardship challenges us to be more intentional with our time. Consider this. If you spend just 1 hour a day on unproductive activities, that adds up to 365 hours in a year. That's over 15 days. Imagine what you could accomplish if you redirected even a portion of that time towards personal growth, serving others, or pursuing your God-given purpose. Here's a practical exercise. For the next week, try keeping a time log. Write down how you spend each hour of your day. At the end of the week, review your log. Are you surprised by how you're spending your time? Are there areas where you could be a better steward of this precious resource? Remember, good time management isn't about cramming more activities into your day. It's about ensuring that your use of time reflects your priorities and values. It's about being present in the moment, whether you're working, spending time with loved ones, or resting. Next, let's consider our talents. Each of us has been blessed with unique abilities, skills, and gifts. These aren't just for our own benefit or success. They're meant to be used in service to God and others. In 1 Peter 4:10, we're told, "Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others, as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms." This verse challenges us to identify our gifts and find ways to use them for the greater good. Maybe you're a gifted speaker, writer, or artist. Perhaps you have a knack for organization, a talent for teaching, or a heart for counseling. Whatever your gifts may be, good stewardship means developing these talents and using them to bless others and glorify God. But here's the thing. Many of us struggle to identify our gifts. We might downplay our abilities or compare ourselves to others, thinking we don't have anything special to offer. If that's you, I want to encourage you to shift your perspective. Your talents don't have to be flashy or world-changing to be valuable. Sometimes, the most impactful gifts are the ones that seem small or ordinary. For example, maybe you have a gift for listening. In our fast-paced world, truly listening to someone, giving them your full attention and empathy, is a rare and precious gift. Or perhaps you have a talent for cooking. Using that skill to prepare meals for a new mom, a sick neighbor, or a local shelter is a beautiful way to steward your gift. Here's another important point. Stewardship of our talents often involves stepping out of our comfort zones. It might mean volunteering for a role at church that stretches you. It could mean offering to mentor someone in your field of expertise, or it might involve using your skills to address a need in your community. Remember, the parable of the talents in Matthew 25 teaches us that God expects us to use and multiply the gifts He's given us, not bury them out of fear or insecurity. So, I challenge you. What talent or skill have you been hesitant to use? How could you step out in faith and start stewarding that gift this week? Lastly, we come to our treasures, our material possessions and financial resources. This is often what people think of first when they hear the word stewardship, and it's certainly a crucial aspect. The Bible has a lot to say about how we handle our money and possessions. In Matthew 6:21, Jesus says, "For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." This verse reminds us that how we handle our money is not just a financial issue, it's a heart issue. Our attitude towards money and possessions reveals a lot about our priorities and values. Good financial stewardship involves several key principles. First, it means recognizing that everything we have comes from God. James 1:17 tells us, "Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights." This perspective helps us hold our possessions lightly and be more willing to share. Secondly, it involves wise management of our resources. This includes budgeting, saving, and avoiding unnecessary debt. Proverbs 21:5 says, "The plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty." This encourages us to be thoughtful and strategic in our financial planning. Let's break this down further. Budgeting is simply telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. It's about being proactive rather than reactive with your finances. A good budget should reflect your values and priorities. It should include categories for giving, saving, and spending. Here's a practical tip. Try the October 10th 80 rule. This means giving 10% of your income, saving 10%, and living on 80%. This is just a guideline, and your percentages might look different depending on your circumstances. The key is to be intentional about allocating your resources. Saving is another crucial aspect of financial stewardship. Proverbs 21:20 says, The wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down. This principle encourages us to save for the future rather than consuming everything immediately. This could involve building an emergency fund, saving for major purchases, or investing for retirement. Avoiding unnecessary debt is also an important part of financial stewardship. While some debt, like a mortgage, may be necessary, the Bible generally warns against debt. Proverbs 22:7 tells us, "The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender." If you're currently in debt, creating a plan to pay it off should be a priority in your stewardship journey. Thirdly, good stewardship involves generosity. Throughout Scripture, we're encouraged to be generous with what we have. In 2 Corinthians 9:7, we read, "Each of you should give what you have decided in your heart to give, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver." Generosity is not just about the amount we give, but the attitude with which we give it. It's important to note that generosity isn't just for those who have a lot. Jesus praised the widow who gave 2 small coins, saying she had given more than all the others because she gave out of her poverty. Luke 21:1-4. This teaches us that generosity is more about our heart than our bank balance. Generosity can take many forms. It might mean giving financially to your church or a charity. It could involve buying groceries for a struggling family or paying for a stranger's meal. It might mean being generous with your time, volunteering at a local organization, or helping a neighbor with a project. Now that we've outlined the basic principles of Christian stewardship, let's dive deeper into how we can apply these concepts in our daily lives. Remember, stewardship is not just a theory, it's a lifestyle that should impact every decision we make. Let's start with time management. In our fast-paced, always connected world, managing our time wisely can be a real challenge. But as stewards of the time God has given us, we're called to use it intentionally. Here are some practical steps you can take. Prioritize your commitments. Make a list of all your regular activities and commitments. Then, prayerfully consider which ones align with your values and God's calling on your life. Be willing to let go of activities that don't fit this criteria. This might mean saying no to good things so you can say yes to the best things. Create a schedule. Plan your days and weeks in advance, making sure to allocate time for important areas like prayer, Bible study, family, work, and rest. Use a planner or a digital calendar to keep track of your commitments and ensure you're not overextending yourself. Practice the Sabbath. God instituted the Sabbath as a day of rest for our benefit. Make sure you're setting aside regular time for rest and worship. This might look different for everyone, but the principle is the same. We need time to recharge and refocus on God. Be present. When you're with people, be fully present. Put away distractions like your phone and give others your full attention. This is a way of honoring both God and the people He's placed in your life. It's also a way of stewarding your relationships, which are a precious gift from God. Serve others. Look for opportunities to use your time in service to others. This could be through formal volunteering or simply being available to help a neighbor or friend in need. Remember, when we serve others, we're serving Christ, Matthew 25:40. Practice time blocking. This technique involves dividing your day into blocks of time, each dedicated to accomplishing a specific task or group of tasks. This can help you focus and avoid the trap of multitasking, which often leads to decreased productivity. Use the 2-minute rule. If a task will take less than 2 minutes to complete, do it immediately, instead of putting it off. This can help prevent small tasks from piling up and becoming overwhelming. Regularly evaluate and adjust. At the end of each week or month, take some time to reflect on how you've been using your time. Are you making progress towards your goals? Are you neglecting any important areas? Use these insights to adjust your schedule and habits as needed. Remember, good time management isn't about cramming more activities into your day. It's about ensuring that your use of time reflects your priorities and values. It's about being intentional with the limited time we have on this earth. Next, let's talk more about stewarding our talents. Each of us has been given unique gifts and abilities. Here's how you can be a good steward of your talents. Identify your gifts. Take time to reflect on what you're good at and what you enjoy doing. Ask trusted friends and family members what strengths they see in you. Consider taking a spiritual gifts assessment or a personality test to gain more insight into your unique abilities. Develop your skills. Once you've identified your talents, look for ways to develop them further. This might involve taking classes, finding a mentor, or simply practicing regularly. Remember, even natural talents need to be honed and developed to reach their full potential. Use your gifts to serve. Look for opportunities to use your talents in your church, community, or workplace. If you're a good cook, maybe you could prepare meals for families in need. If you're skilled in finance, perhaps you could offer budgeting classes at your church. If you're good with children, consider volunteering in the children's ministry. Teach others. Sharing your knowledge and skills with others is a great way to multiply the impact of your talents. This could involve formal teaching or mentoring, or simply being willing to show others how to do something you're good at. Stay humble. Remember that your talents are gifts from God. Use them to glorify Him, not to boost your own ego. As 1 Peter 4:10-11 reminds us, if anyone serves, they should do so with the strength God provides, so that in all things God may be praised through Jesus Christ. Be open to new opportunities. Sometimes God may call us to use our talents in unexpected ways. Be open to stepping out of your comfort zone and trying new things. You might discover gifts you never knew you had. Collaborate with others. Often, our talents can have the greatest impact when combined with the talents of others. Look for opportunities to work with people whose skills complement your own. Use your talents in your workplace. Remember that using your gifts to glorify God isn't limited to church or volunteer work. Look for ways to use your talents to serve others and be a light in your workplace. Now, let's delve deeper into financial stewardship. This is often the most challenging area for many people, but it's also an area where good stewardship can have a huge impact. Here are some practical steps for managing your finances in a way that honors God. Create a detailed budget. A budget is simply a plan for your money. It helps you ensure that you're using your resources in a way that aligns with your values and priorities. Start by tracking all your income and expenses for a month. Then, categorize your expenses and look for areas where you can cut back if needed. Make sure your budget includes categories for giving, saving, and spending. Live below your means. Resist the cultural pressure to constantly upgrade your lifestyle. Choose contentment over consumerism. This might mean driving an older car, living in a smaller house, or being selective about entertainment expenses. Remember, true wealth isn't about how much you have, but about being content with what you have. Save and invest wisely. Proverbs 21:20 says, "The wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down." This principle encourages us to save for the future rather than consuming everything immediately. Aim to build an emergency fund with 3-6 months of living expenses. Beyond that, consider saving for major purchases and investing for long-term goals like retirement. Give generously. Set aside a portion of your income for giving. This could be to your church, to charities, or to individuals in need. Remember, giving isn't just about money. It can also include giving of your time and talents. As you give, remember the words of Jesus in Acts 20:35, "It is more blessed to give than to receive." Avoid debt. While some debt, like a mortgage, may be necessary, try to avoid consumer debt. Proverbs 22:7 warns us that the borrower is slave to the lender. If you're currently in debt, make a plan to pay it off as quickly as possible. Consider using the debt snowball method, where you pay off your smallest debts first while maintaining minimum payments on larger debts. Seek financial education. Continuously educate yourself about personal finance. The more you understand about managing money, the better steward you can be. Read books on Christian financial management, attend seminars, or consider working with a financial advisor who shares your values. Practice contentment. In Philippians 4:11-12, Paul writes, "I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty." Contentment is key to good financial stewardship. It helps us resist the constant pressure to acquire more and allows us to be generous with what we have. Use your purchasing power wisely. Consider the ethical implications of your purchases. Are you supporting companies that align with your values? Can you buy fair trade or locally produced items? Remember, Every purchase is a vote for the kind of world you want to live in. Plan for legacy giving. Consider how you can continue to be a good steward even after you're gone. This might involve estate planning, setting up a charitable trust, or simply having conversations with your family about the importance of stewardship. Pray about your finances. Invite God into your financial decisions. Pray for wisdom in managing your resources and for opportunities to be generous. Remember, God cares about every aspect of our lives, including our finances. As we apply these principles of stewardship to our lives, it's important to remember that this is a journey. None of us will get it perfect all the time. The goal is progress, not perfection. As we grow in our understanding and practice of stewardship, we'll likely face some challenges. Let's address some common obstacles and how to overcome them. Materialism. Our culture constantly tells us that we need more stuff to be happy. This can make it challenging to live below our means and be content with what we have. To combat materialism, regularly remind yourself of what truly matters, your relationship with God and others, not your possessions. Practice gratitude by keeping a gratitude journal or regularly thanking God for what you have. Limit your exposure to advertising, which often fuels materialistic desires. Consider a spending fast, where you only buy necessities for a set period of time. Busyness. It's easy to become so busy that we don't take time to consider how we're using our resources. To overcome this, schedule regular times to review your stewardship practices and make adjustments as needed. Learn to say no to commitments that don't align with your priorities. Practice the Sabbath principle of regular rest and reflection. Use tools like time tracking apps to become more aware of how you're spending your time. Lack of knowledge. If you feel overwhelmed by financial management or unsure how to use your talents effectively, don't be afraid to seek help. Many churches offer financial classes or counseling. There are also numerous books and online resources available on Christian financial management and discovering your spiritual gifts. Fear. Sometimes, fear can hold us back from being generous or taking financial risks. We might worry about not having enough or fear that using our talents will lead to failure. To overcome fear, remember God's promises of provision. Meditate on verses like Philippians 4:19. And my God will meet all your needs according to the riches of his glory in Christ Jesus. Start small. If you're afraid to be generous, start with small acts of giving and gradually increase as you see God's faithfulness. Seek wisdom from mature Christians who can offer guidance and encouragement. Remember that failure is often a stepping stone to growth and success. Comparison. In our social media age, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparing our lifestyle, talents, or financial situation to others. This can lead to discontentment and poor stewardship decisions. To combat comparison, limit your social media use or unfollow accounts that trigger comparison. Focus on your own stewardship journey and trust that God has given you exactly what you need. Practice celebrating others' successes instead of feeling threatened by them. Remember that social media often shows a curated version of people's lives, not the full reality. Instant gratification. Our culture promotes instant gratification, which can make it challenging to save, invest, or develop our talents over time. To overcome this, set both short-term and long-term goals to give yourself some quick wins while also working towards bigger objectives. Use visual reminders of your long-term goals to motivate you. Practice delayed gratification in small ways to build the muscle of self-control. Lack of accountability. It's easy to slip into poor stewardship habits when we're not accountable to anyone. To address this, find an accountability partner or join a small group focused on biblical stewardship. Be transparent with your spouse or a trusted friend about your finances and time management. Consider using budgeting apps that allow you to share your financial information with an accountability partner. Overwhelm. Sometimes the idea of being a good steward in all areas of life can feel overwhelming. If you're feeling this way, start small. Choose one area of stewardship to focus on first. Break big goals into smaller, manageable steps. Celebrate small victories along the way. Remember that stewardship is a lifelong journey, not a destination to be reached overnight. As we wrap up, let's consider the incredible benefits of embracing Christian stewardship. When we manage our time, talents, and treasures in a way that honors God, we experience freedom, Good stewardship frees us from the stress of living beyond our means and the constant pursuit of more. It allows us to break free from the cycle of debt and materialism that traps so many people. Purpose. Using our resources for God's purposes gives our lives deeper meaning and satisfaction. We begin to see how our daily choices can have eternal significance. Impact. As we use our resources wisely, we're able to make a greater impact in the lives of others and in God's kingdom. Our generosity can ripple out to touch countless lives. Spiritual growth. Stewardship challenges us to trust God more fully and align our lives more closely with His will. It's a practical way of living out our faith and growing in our relationship with God. Legacy. Good stewardship allows us to leave a positive legacy for future generations. We can pass on not just financial resources, but also values and a model of faithful living. Joy. There's a deep joy that comes from using our resources in a way that pleases God. As we align our lives with His purposes, we experience the truth of Jesus' words that it is more blessed to give than to receive. Peace. Good stewardship brings a sense of peace, knowing that we're using our resources wisely and for eternal purposes. It frees us from the anxiety that often comes with poor financial management or misuse of time. Clarity. As we practice stewardship, we gain clarity about our priorities and values. This clarity can guide our decisions and help us live more intentionally. Community. Good stewardship often leads to stronger connections with others as we serve, give, and use our talents in community. Eternal perspective. Stewardship helps us keep an eternal perspective, reminding us that our true treasure is in heaven, not on earth. In conclusion, Christian stewardship is a transformative concept that has the power to revolutionize our lives. It's not about rules or restrictions. It's about recognizing the incredible trust God has placed in us and responding with faithful management of all He's given us. Stewardship touches every aspect of our lives, our time, our talents, and our treasures. It challenges us to view everything we have as a gift from God, entrusted to us for a purpose. When we embrace this perspective, it changes how we spend our time, how we use our abilities, and how we manage our finances. Good stewardship means being intentional with our time, using it wisely to pursue what truly matters. It means developing and using our talents to serve God and others. And it means managing our finances in a way that honors God, provides for our needs, and allows us to be generous to others. Remember, stewardship is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about making small, consistent choices that align our lives more closely with God's purposes. Each decision to use our resources wisely is a step towards a life of greater purpose, impact, and fulfillment. As we close, I want to challenge you to take a step towards better stewardship this week. Maybe it's creating a budget for the first time. Perhaps it's scheduling some time to serve others using your talents. Or it could be simply taking a few minutes each day to thank God for all He's entrusted to you. Here are some practical steps you can take to start or improve your stewardship journey. Conduct a time audit. For 1 week, track how you spend your time. This will give you a clear picture of where your time is going and help you identify areas for improvement. Take a spiritual gifts assessment. This can help you identify your unique talents and how you can use them to serve others. Create a budget. If you don't already have one, start by tracking your income and expenses for a month. Then create a plan for how you want to allocate your resources. Start a gratitude practice. Each day, write down 3 things you're grateful for. This can help combat materialism and foster contentment. Find an accountability partner. Share your stewardship goals with a trusted friend or family member and ask them to check in with you regularly. Declutter. Go through your possessions and donate items you no longer need. This can be a practical way of holding your possessions lightly. Set a giving goal. Decide on a percentage of your income you want to give and make a plan to work towards that goal. Learn more. Choose a book on Christian stewardship to read or a financial management course to take. Pray. Ask God for wisdom in managing the resources He's entrusted to you. Take a Sabbath. Set aside a day for rest and worship, practicing the principle of Sabbath. Remember, stewardship is a journey. It's about progress, not perfection. Each small step you take towards better managing your time, talents, and treasures is a step towards a life of greater purpose, impact, and fulfillment. Thank you for joining us today as we explored this crucial topic. If you found this video helpful, please consider sharing it with others who might benefit. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more content on living out biblical principles in our daily lives. Until next time, may you be inspired to be a faithful steward of all that God has entrusted to you. May you experience the freedom, joy, and purpose that comes from aligning your life with God's purposes. And may your stewardship journey draw you closer to God and allow you to make a lasting impact in this world. God bless you all, and we'll see you in our next video.